Hey guys, welcome to the Nemcast. This is episode 10, and in today's episode we're going to be covering the following topics. So in part 1 we're going to be introducing Pete with MIA Airsoft, formerly Matlock Combat Games, and we're going to be sort of going over the vision going forward, the roadmap, and sort of go from there. And in part 2 we've got a brief review of Humber Airsoft, which was an excellent day out. In part 3, the final part, we'll be discussing what's going on in the next episode. So I'll catch you soon. Cheers, chaps. Hey guys, welcome to part 1, and in this part we're going to be introducing Pete, and he's now the owner of MIA, which formerly is Matlock Combat Games, and we're going to be sort of discussing your plans going forward. You're a new site, you've had your first game day.
Hi, I'm Corny. Hi, thanks very much for having me on. It's lovely to be here.
How has it been a site owner? Because I bet loads of people are going to be interested, because it's something that as airsofters we all sort of go, one day I'd love to have my own site, and it's one of those.
Yes.
I imagine when you come round to it, it's very...
Definitely. Well, I've been in that boat for many years. I've been airsofting for give or take 20 years. Ever since year one, you think, oh, it'd be amazing to be able to do this myself. And I've had a lot of time thinking about it. And eventually, after a lot of asking and a lot of probing and trying, I got my chance to get hold of my local airsoft site, which I had been going to for many years. I had been the head marshal there for quite a few years, and yeah, we're at that point now. Like you say, it's an exciting point to be at. I've got so much that I want to do, but you've got to be careful not to get daunted about what is in front of you and what needs to be done.
Yeah, it's sort of like that roadmap-esque thing where you need to set tasks. This is the date I'm going to do this one. We've got the funding, then we move on to the next spot, and then you just keep pushing forward.
I've got phases in my setup. Phase 1 was the initial setup, get the minimum done to get a day open, to get the site open, get the bank account, get the insurance,
get the cash flowing, that sort of thing.
Now we've got past that, we're on phase 2, and that's a matter of trying to get everything up to the level of par that I think it should be. Yeah. Because, like you've said in previous episodes about the degradation.
Yeah, the degradation of airsoft. That's how you've ended up coming into the site, actually. Because, long story short, you've bought the site from the previous owner, and we've had the conversation before. You're trying to push the site past that sort of. It's got the reputation for being a little run down. Now you need to get the funding to push it past that.
Yes, and a lot of it is just manpower and hours sorting it out, basically. But yeah, like you say, you need the materials to get it to the point where it should be. Yeah, it'll come in time. You need money to get those materials, especially these days. Gone are the days that you can get, apart from pallets. Yeah. To get proper building wood, it is not cheap these days.
It's horrifically expensive. So, moving forward then, so you've had your first game day, it was a massive success, and just as a marshal, I'd like to say thank you for everyone who turned up for the first game day. It was a wicked turnout. Now, second game days, well, I'll be editing this tomorrow, and it'll be going up Sunday, all being well.
Yep.
So, second game day was yesterday, if you're watching this. Let's hope it has a good turnout, and looking forward to seeing you all there, or who was there. I won't be there because my car's broke for a fucking change. What's the plan after game day 2? What's the first step in the roadmap?
Well, like I say, we've finished phase 1 now. We took this time between the first and second to take stock, make sure we got everything straight and sorted. Now phase 2, like I say, is the upkeep and making it so it's what you deserve to have for 25 quid to turn up and have a game day. Not tired old, I wouldn't say run down, but not maintained.
Pete's trying to be really delicate. I'll be dead blunt, because I don't care. Make it less fucking unsafe. It was mega unsafe before. There was a few hop ups where he went, could fall through that. So Pete has diligently taken those down, made it safe, made it insurable,
Yes.
and gone from there, basically. Now, what I'd quite like in the comment section, if you could, is put some suggestions to Pete on what potentially, because I'm assuming a few of the locals might watch this, what you'd like to see as improvements. So use this as a suggestion box in the comment section below.
Certainly, please do.
And I think that would
really
be an
like
interesting way to help.
Yeah.
That'd be a good way to add some ideas to the pool.
And it's what the players want.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. You need to not just have your own vision and think
Yeah.
that's what it'll be and that's what it has to be. You have to be able to...
You cater to your customer base almost.
absolutely. Change to what people do want.
Going back to it, so there's the general upkeep of the site. Where are you so far? Because going over the map as a whole, so you've got the safe zone in the centre.
Yeah, we are a 30-acre site.
Yeah, it's a big site.
There are various different games, zones and areas, and we have, you'd call them semi-permanent, hard-standing structures, to a degree, here and there, in various bases and forms. But like you say, it's been especially before the first game day, a mad rush round with a hammer.
Yeah.
And just making sure that there's no sharp edges, making sure that there's nothing that... I mean, I've got a 6-year-old son. I know he's not old enough to play airsoft yet, but I would not want him to go running around in that
woods.
wood.
Yeah, I've got an 8-year-old lad, and I understand that sentiment. You think you send in your kids off to a professional site, whatever it might be, when they're 13, etc. And you think they might get shot in airsoft, but they're not going to come back with a great big gash in their arm from a rusty nail.
Exactly.
So you've done your diligence there. Now, for those who aren't familiar with Matlock Combat Games, it used to be the full 30 acres way back in the day, and over time it's slowly shrank back from just lack of maintenance, really. And you've sort of shrank back to the safe zone, the village, mortar pits, not even James's camp anymore. It was the pillboxes, Gaddafi's bunker, and a few bits like that, really.
There's nothing left of pillboxes now as well,
so,
which is a bit of a shame.
What's the first area you plan on reopening? Because there's the areas we already have.
Like I say, it's a matter of upgrading what we do have to make it playable and serviceable.
Yeah. So work on the bits that are currently in service, then when they're up to spec where you want them,
I've got big plans to either extend and improve the original bases, be it with full-blown trenches and or dug in positions, something that you step down into and you've got a firing port, something that you could call a pillbox, for example. And I do want to move the safe zone.
Yeah, that's something everyone's sort of thought of in the past, because I'll put a map up for those who obviously can't picture it from the main road. Now, hopefully I'll be able to edit arrows in, we'll see. Where the first arrow is, I'm going to wing it, is going to be where the safe zone is currently, and Pete would eventually like to put the safe zone in this position, edits arrow in, and we'll go from there. Which is basically the entrance of the site.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there comes a matter that there's not many sites where you drive through all of the positions and all of the not all of them, but a big base. You go right through the middle of
the more commonly played areas. Yeah.
To get to the safe zone as is now, so it's quite a good selling point, and it means that you are in the middle of the game zone. Not any base is particularly far away at the moment. But come 4 o'clock, when all the mums are coming to pick up their sons after playing for the day,
someone's finishing at lunchtime.
We're constantly having a ceasefire, or if the car park was by the gate, it would negate that.
Yeah, it would. There's nothing worse than you're halfway through a game, you hear the call of ceasefire, everyone understands what ceasefire is. You have to put your guns down, stand there and wait, and all the marshals running around like headless chickens trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And it turns out Karen's come to pick up Timmy the rental, and they've driven through the safe zone, and they're now waiting, and everything's come to a grinding halt. So if the safe zone's at the entrance where you suggested, that would negate that problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody did need to nip off site, or
it's
dropping kids off,
way.
it's a little bit of a pain coming across another car coming out the driveway when you're coming in. There are passing places, but it's not the best.
No. So the safe zone's going to be sort of at the entrance road. That's the plan, to stop the interruptions. Now, what's the plan with the old safe zone area? Because it's a big, open, sort of stoned area. It's a nice, solid piece of ground.
That's a good point. It's hardcore levelled with road planings, and it's been there for quite a while, so it would be quite secure. money willing, I want to put a big wooden castle there.
Yeah, almost like a mini favela or something.
Yeah,
really
or
built
something
up,
like that.
a
Something with a few
CQB-ish.
different levels, not OP, so it has weaknesses, so you can get in. While it'll be fun to defend, it wouldn't be
No.
terrible to attack if that gets.
Yeah, I think
'Cause
that's
some
just down to your
castles on
entrance
some
and-
sites.
Yeah.
While it's hilariously fun attacking the castle, you're throwing yourself into the meat grinder again and again.
That reminds me of Skirmish Airsoft in Mansfield. Have you ever
yes.
been there? When they used to have the second floor on that castle, it was a grind to push up to it. So that's sort of what you want to try and avoid, is those high advantages.
I know that it might be very difficult to avoid that, but yeah, hopefully. I mean,
I think the key is plenty of cover on the move up.
the way how I try and design my bases and my bunkers is to give the attackers a way in. Not always so obvious, but so it's not just easily defendable.
Yeah.
Like some of the bases that we had before, it was almost no fun to attack. You couldn't get close, and it was just.
The thing is with that,
a
you
meat
can get the initial build done, and then get some feedback from the players. So it'll naturally progress. So, safe zone's one thing.
Yes.
Now, one thing that I'm going to mention on the podcast, because it never used to be a thing, is back in the days of MCG, and you'll probably have this at a few of the other local sites if they haven't really moved on with the world. You've now got cardless machines.
Yes.
Which is, cashless machine, so you can use your card, whatever. Very helpful, and you can get drinks and snacks behind the thing. Are you planning on getting a coffee machine or anything like that? Or like
Yes,
a big camping kettle?
That's probably the best part of phase 2. I'm wanting to do food again. We used to have it in the glory days of MCG.
That's something that's really missing off a lot of sites.
And it would just be included in the price.
That would be wicked.
It's
Are we going for
depending on what you cook for people.
Are you going for the standard burger or curry? And there is no in between.
My plan is jacket potatoes.
Yeah,
with
good shout,
a
actually.
mix of fillings for each day, be it chicken tikka, be it beans, cheese. Be quite straightforward to do. You can even prep them the night before.
I mean,
And
one
it
thing
should
I've
be
toyed
quite
with
easy and not too expensive to feed everybody in the game fee.
Yeah.
Because that's
If
we're
you're doing a
all here
weekend
to make
event,
money
it
at
might
the
be
end of
worth
it.
sometimes reaching out to local vendors. So local people who have the converted horse boxes with the pizza
Yes.
thing in the back. Say, come up for the day, we'll not charge you. At lunchtime you've got X amount of guaranteed sales, do pre-bookings.
It's certainly an option, yeah.
You could do something like that, but again, like we said before, if you want to throw your lot in and throw it in the comment section, me and Pete will have a read and we'll
Absolutely.
do our best to reply. So, safe zone out the way, what's your rental fleet looking like?
I got a lot of guns, I'll say that much. Not a lot of them were worth toffee.
No.
To put it simply, a lot of them got kicked to bits. I obviously got the gearboxes and bits and bobs
Yeah, they're
out of them
worthwhile
worth
keeping
keeping.
those.
But the majority of the guns got kicked to bits and put in the recycle bin because they were cheap guns when they were bought, probably near enough 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So they'd served their purpose, they were done. I've managed to save a few nice ones with diamonds in the rough, and I've sorted them out. They're all nicely, just how you like it. And I've got 13 of them at the moment.
Right, so realistically you've got 30, well, what's your rental booking at the moment? What's your capacity for rental bookings at present? So it's
At
going
the
to change
moment,
as it goes on.
Just because I've inherited these old guns, I'm not necessarily, they're not like brand new out the box. I can't guarantee that I'm going to have 13 available. You have to have a bit of space
case
for
one
if
breaks,
one
yeah.
poos its pants in the second game to be able to say, no, here you go, here's a fresh one.
Yeah. So at present, we've got the 8. Moving forward, what's your plan? Are you going to get a few more AKs, M4s?
I
You
want to
stick
get
with M4s?
30 in total, 30 that can be rented. Because, let's be honest, that's what will make the most money for the site.
Yeah.
If you can cater for these big birthday parties or even corporate events that want to come along to Airsoft, and you can get 30 people paying the top price that you
Yeah,
offer,
the maximum price that's available on the website.
then
as
you're
such.
laughing, to put it simply. So yeah, like you say, a few different types of guns. I want to give people the option. I mean, I've built my own website, which I did a great job. But I'd like to kind of, at the point where you choose a rental gun, have it a bit like, what, Call of Duty?
Yeah, so a game where you customise
where
it,
you can,
put
you
some
bring up your
attachments.
different guns and it brings up a different picture. And yeah, I don't know of any airsoft site that does rental attachments. I mean, I can imagine there's a bit of a pain involved with, you give somebody a red dot sight, 5 minutes later it's smashed in half.
Yeah, but they're cheap and cheerful, especially when you've got decent trade accounts.
Or even the AliExpress ones. Let's be honest, they don't need to be EOTechs.
I mean, for the sake of it, you could get cheap safety glasses, cut a circle out and stick it on the front. You've got a sacrificial lens.
Yeah. To be able to, a bit like in a Call of Duty loadout bench, you can, as a rental, maybe not your first time, maybe on the third time, maybe on the one before they get their UCARA, they want to have a little play about. Some people will pay a $5 to have a front grip on your M4.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's a good way to monetise a few extra bits that are
along the lines of some sites do you get a tactical vest and a spare magazine for an inflated price. And there's ways to. While I'm not trying to be greedy, I'm trying to make the site be successful. The thing is, I want this to get to phase 4 where we're going above other sites in the area, if not the country, and being able to get to that. Moving
to so we've covered phase 1, which is get everything sorted. Phase 2, which is tidy up the site, start to reinstate the old site. Phase 3 is what exactly then?
The improvements, building and expanding the bases as they are, creating new bases, not just bringing the site up to par, but making it better.
Yeah, so that'll be like the castle in the safe zone, move the safe zone, reinstates on the old sites. Like, I'd love to play that. Those who know what used to be MCG, James's Camp used to be right down in the corner. It was a wicked play area. Lots of dense sort of waist-high shrubs, so you could push up quite effectively, but if you needed to, there's plenty of cover. That would be an interesting area to start playing again. It's that last bit of corner of the site.
There's been, in recent years, disagreements with the landowner and the farmer down beneath there. So that's why we've always avoided it. The site owner is more than happy with me planting a big row of trees along the roadside and even going down that side to negate any problems with the farmers, any disagreements, and give us a bit more privacy. Yeah,
so you're not getting the SWAT team with real guns coming to the thing, because that used to be a thing.
We play next to the main road. We obviously keep a good 20 metres away, but in the winter time the foliage isn't as dense, and if you've got a keen eye on a double-decker bus, you'll see a bunch of lads with AK-47s running around the woods at the top of Matlock.
I mean, again, sort of like a shout out to Justin, who owns the jail. When he ran this site, formerly as MCG,
that was quite a few years ago,
he used to have to deal with things like this. I mean, a simple thing like a green netting and a few banners advertising MIA on the side.
Yeah, absolutely.
People would look at it and go, oh, it's obviously a company. It's probably paintball, because let's be honest, that's normally what happens. When you say to your mates, what do you do? I'll do airsoft, and you have to go, it's a bit like paintball. it's
a shame.
So we're moving the safe zone, that's one thing.
Yes.
We're reinstating some areas.
With the matter with the trees and all of that, I've got the ability to even push out even further, play to the level of the trees as such. And that would give us more areas around the bases, give us potentially even more bases. There is a road that runs all the way from where I'm on about putting the new safe zone, round along by the wall, that goes all the way down to James's Camp. It's all overgrown and there's not much of it, but there is a road there, and I'd really quite like to play a game or two along it.
That would be a good idea, actually. So, build days. Before we get to step 4, build days is going to be a big thing for you.
It is. It is. While I'm lucky enough, I say lucky, I've got a part-time job, and that gives me enough time to devote over half my week in working time up on site.
Yeah.
And while obviously I'm getting quite a bit done, like you say, there's only so
You're
much
only one man. That's
can
the thing.
So we are going to be asking for help, asking for build days. Various people have offered their services and their equipment, which is helpful.
So, jumping back in.
Yes.
So, like we said, build day is going to be a big thing. We've already offered all the Nemtech team who are available in the local area will come up and help. It's not a problem. What I suggest you do is, any build days you've got coming up, put them on your social media. Keep an eye on the MIA social media, probably Facebook, things like that. And also, if you comment in the comment section yourself on any build days coming up, people who want to watch it and pop up to Matlock and give a hand can as well.
Absolutely. I mean, when it comes to that, when we're doing the build days, the more people, the better, really. I mean, I've got a big box of sandbags ready to be filled. I've got, like I say, big ideas on some of the old bases. But too many chefs can spoil the broth.
Yes,
so there needs
you
to
need
be a
one
plan.
chief, many Indians.
There needs to be,
thing.
yes, exactly. There needs to work to a plan. Because if, as you know, I'm sure, if you do just let everybody
go wild,
you'll get people hammering nails into trees, you'll get stuff everywhere.
You start to get problems.
Right.
I mean, moving forward on a build day, you'd probably want something like, right, this is the drawing from a top-down perspective of the walls where I want them. They need to be head height. Here's sandbags. Go for your life. I'm going to go get a case of beer for when it's all finished and I can give everyone a beer, whatever. Something like that. And then you can all start attacking the job, get it done. What's phase 4? Because we've covered phase 1, 2, 3.
I touched on a little bit earlier. It's to try and make it better than the rest. And that, it could be multifaceted. You know, give it the wow factor. Give it the matter that it makes it, hopefully, one of the best sites in the area, if not the country. Obviously money dependent. If I've got to do the previous phases right to make sure I can get to phase 4, but you know, getting an old broken down tank that, you know, maybe not a runner, but stick it in the game zone.
Yeah, I mean, some sites in the UK have old helicopters they've had dropped off by lorry, things like that. It just gives you a bit more, when you're playing through the area, it's a bit more
Some of my best firefights have been out the back of an old helicopter.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that. It helps, especially for rentals who are going for the first time. It makes the whole experience more immersive. So
yeah,
it's simple things like that, but it's not cheap.
No, which means that, like I say, I've got to do everything right beforehand.
Yeah. Now,
and hopefully at the point where we're there and we do have enough money to, say, build a big wooden castle or get some decent props like tanks or helicopters or planes or something, and just get, like I say, get the site to as good as it possibly can be.
Yeah,
we are only 30 acres. Yeah, we are only 30 acres. We've, in the past, had over 120 people there, and it's been fine.
Yes, it's as long as you manage your car park right, you're normally laughing. That's when you're making enough money to survive as an individual, where you don't need to work a second job and you can concentrate solely on the airsoft side.
Yeah, and obviously, that is the dream.
Yeah,
I'm well aware that I'm in a very lucky position that I can do what I wanted to do for a job.
Yeah,
have a job that I love. Ask me again in another 10 years, but I'm in a kind of the honeymoon stage where I think everything's just gonna, the bubble's gonna burst, and Shaggy's gonna say, no, I'm having this back.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those. It's the same. What I covered in the last episode, which is the degradation of airsoft. It's, as a business, something my dad said. He probably found it online. Business is like a treadmill that's constantly moving forward on a slow speed. So you've either got to keep walking to stay static, just to stay existing, or sprint to move forward. You've got to really go for it. It's hours and hours into it, and
these days it's also
my company.
It's social media and everything. It's pushing that the idea of your company, your site, to as many people as you can, as politely as often as you can.
Yeah.
You don't want to be ramming it down their throats every day, but at the point where the people who, especially the people who are interested,
they're going to
keep on getting reminded about you.
They're going to pick up on it and go, well, maybe for such and such's birthday we'll go.
Yeah.
You've got to play the social media game right. And this is one of the reasons why we're doing the podcast. Now, the next thing that I want to cover is FPS rules. So for those who aren't aware, what are your FPS rules for the site?
Well, the simple matter is 350 FPS for full auto weapons. That includes HPA. The general rule is that we are full auto in and out of all buildings. At any range, just don't be a dick. Really. That's the long and short of it.
Based. Anyway.
So 350, 400 FPS for semi-auto DMR rifles. There's no restrictions on fire rate. If it can't do full auto, and it's semi-auto only, you can go to a max of 400 FPS. Bolt actions are 500 FPS. That's how we stand at the moment. Anything that's over 350, like most sites, we have a 20 metre minimum engagement range. We all know what that means.
Yeah. Now, one thing I wanted to broach with you, because some sites are doing it, other sites are pushing against it and they're trying to go the opposite way. I'm trying to push the other way. Upping FPS limits on DMRs.
Okay.
As a tech, I build a lot of DMRs. A DMR at 400 FPS is almost, pardon the French, fucking pointless. A DMR at 450, you're laughing, because you've got the extra engagement range. You've still got your minimum engagement range of 20 metres, like a 500 FPS DMR.
Yes.
Some sites have a no more than 2 BBs in the air kind of rule.
I can understand that at that point.
I've not dealt with insurance, so obviously I can't dictate such things. But that might be an interesting thing to think of. Now, what I'd suggest you do is, whoever watches this, what are your thoughts? Would you rather have a DMR at 450 or 400? What are your opinions on it? Would you rather go to a site with DMRs at 450 or a site with 400?
Obviously, all the snipers
Yeah.
are going to pipe up, because of
Yeah.
course you want more FPS.
Yeah.
Everybody would.
Because you can hop a heavier BB more effectively.
I think it's only fair to point out that I've tried sniping. I fucking hate it.
It's
not my cup of tea at all. And while I can appreciate that, yes, of course, for that one shot, 450 FPS would give you that little more. I've had a DMR and I did have it set bang on 400. And looking through the scope, I'm shooting and thinking, I wish I had my M4 at the moment. Just because I was stuck on single shot and not really benefit. Maybe I didn't take the time and find just the right BB weight for me and all that, but I just didn't enjoy it.
No.
I can understand that, yeah, at that higher FPS level, you might enjoy it more. It might just be that sweet spot. But are you going to be somebody with HPA who can just go...
Yeah, that's the thing.
At 450 FPS, that even if you are shooting at somebody 60 metres away, you might accidentally clip the back of some kid's head 5 metres away because you're looking through your big scope and not thinking of your height over bore. It happens, it does, but it's that balance point to find.
Yeah,
so I am interested to hear what people have to say.
Yeah, I think it's almost down to sort of a popular opinion. Personally, as a tech, like I said, when you're in a DMR, you're after the heaviest possible weight BB, the same as snipers, because you're after that nice, steady, consistent trajectory of your round. When you're the weight of a BB, it travels slower. The joules are roughly the same, but it travels slower. You have to build, especially in AEG, you have to build the rifle based on the ammo you intend on using. With a DMR, I can build a very effective DMR at 450. I can build a passable DMR at 400. It'll do the job, but if you compare the two, it's chalk and cheese.
I would like to see that at some point. You can get me...
Look, the best way I can describe it is if you go... There is a couple of sites in the UK that, because the UK legal limit for DMRs is higher than 400, you can go to a few of these sites and you'll see a notable difference. They behave like a bolt action, but their caveat on some of the sites in the UK, it's not necessary. But you could say is please no more than 2 BBs in the air at a time, or
Yep.
a slight delay between trigger pulls, as a caveat to
Something like that
as a
mitigate.
cover your arse for your insurance.
Yeah, it might mitigate the boy who's turned up with HPA running 3/8, thinking, you know what, I'm going to turn up my valve, get re-chronoed and everything, and be fine.
But put 30 rounds down at the back of someone's
And
head,
only be shooting
yeah,
single shot. But there comes a point that some sites demand a semi-auto lock on your DMR.
Yeah.
And I can understand that's fair, but some people can't do that.
No, especially if you turn
For
up
one
site with
reason or
an
another.
like what MIA, we have a sort of general rule of thumb generally, where if someone turns up with a slightly hot gun, so say it's firing at 330 on a 2.5.
It's the laddo's new gun that he just got for his birthday.
And he says, oh, I really want to play with it. And you go, don't worry, just please run it as a DMR, treat it as minimum engagement, semi-only. Just be sensible.
Obviously, all the marshals get told.
Yeah.
And he is kept an eye on. But that means that young laddo doesn't go home sad and doesn't come back.
Yeah.
But also gets to have a good game.
So, like we said, you know, it gives Timmy the rental the option to play with his new gun.
Yes.
You know, it's but you've got to remember the legal limit for an AG, generally speaking, is about 370 for insurance purposes. So it's not the end of the world.
Yes.
He won't run it at full auto.
Of course.
The marshals will be watching.
But even though it does have the option to go to 370, if he's over 350, he's single shot and he stays that way. And
we're not like some sites desperately trying not to say the name, where they see 1 FPS over out of 20 shots and they go, no, go home.
Yes.
And then you go, well, no.
It's one reason why I always take 3 or 4 guns to everywhere I go, just in case, because a chronograph is a calibrated instrument. They're not all the same.
They're not all the same.
They don't read the same.
There might be a 10 FPS variation between some of them. So, is there anything you want to add? I think we've covered like the roadmap going forward. What do you want to add? Do you want to do a plug? What's the website?
I really do appreciate you guys having me on here. We do have a website. I did make it myself. Ooh, it's MIA-airsoft.com. It is essentially just for your
bookings,
feedback and your bookings and your FAQs for new players.
I'll put the link to that in the description below.
Because these days with social media, we've got the MIA Airsoft Facebook page. We work out of that basically. We have a group involving all of that as well, and we keep everybody up to date with the events that are obviously all on the website, ready for the rentals to book. But that's where all of our interaction mainly is, on Facebook.
Yeah. So if you need to reach out to MIA, perhaps you've got a question about booking a ticket, go on the Facebook page. You'll be able to get in touch with Pete from there, or whoever's running the Facebook that day.
Absolutely, yes.
So, long story short, I think let's hope everyone has a good day Saturday. Obviously it's Sunday today when we upload this.
We can hope so, yes.
Have a wicked day tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Sorry I couldn't be there. Sorry that
That's okay.
Just for a change.
The fact of the matter is, while you are marshalling for me, and I think that's important that people understand that. While you've
obviously
done me a solid
we're
and having me
affiliated
on today, you are affiliated. I think that's only fair that people do know. We, like I say, just thank you very much. We're hoping to have a very good game, and we're going to see how it goes.
Now, while that's on my mind, actually, if anyone else has an airsoft site that's up and coming, you've just launched your site, or even if it's a well-established site and you want to come on the podcast, please reach out to us. We'll happily have you on, because I think a lot of the older airsoft sites aren't reaching out on social media. And something like this will do a world of good for the industry.
Especially the older sites.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Anzio does half a job. But especially some of the other ones, they don't understand the power that you can get by just not being.
You can get an extra 30 regulars.
Exactly. Not being obnoxious,
media.
forcing it down people's throats, but going on the different groups and sharing it about, making sure people know that
where
there's a
you
game
are,
on.
what's going on, the dates, etc.
Exactly.
Right, I think that sums up part 1, and I'll catch you in part 2. Cheers, chaps. Hey guys, guys, welcome back to part 2, and in this part we're going to be discussing Humber Airsoft and our little review of the site itself. Now, you've never been to Humber.
I haven't. It's the one that's in an old quarry.
Yes, it's an old quarry.
I've always wanted to go there.
Now, we attended the site with the Tropic Thunder guys, so big shout out to them, top lads. Greg, you came, and Elliot, you came along as well.
Bussing.
Thoughts, chaps, who've actually been? So we'll start with Elliot, what are your thoughts?
Bussing, loved it, can't wait to go again.
Thoughts on the site itself though, as a layout, what do you reckon to the quarry?
Oh, well laid out, yeah. Just, small little dirt track down into the safe zone. Straight, as soon as you get out of the safe zone, you're literally within one of the game areas. Well laid out because you've got kind of the woodland half, I want to say. And then kind of the quarry half. That's all I can say on it really.
Wicked site. Overall.
Wicked site, loved everything about
it. Yeah, it's probably one of the best sites, like terrain and run, I've been recently ages.
Yeah, I'd actually agree on that. It's by far one of the most unusual sites I've been to.
It's they got a bit of woodland, very hilly. Hope you like hills.
Yes, it's
Thank you for taking us up that hill.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Getting down.
So is it all like slag heaps, like old quarry working hills,
it's
or
like
is there actual bedrock hills?
The best way I can
I'd say
describe
it's
it,
like
it's
bedrock.
like 10 mil to dust limestone, that quarry is.
Yeah.
It's 10 mil to dust, think of it that way. So I imagine on a rainy day... What? Why have you got a fucking straw? Anyway, on a rainy day, I can imagine it gets real nasty, sort of take a change of shoes kind of weather, you know, if it's been raining.
It's very dusty.
Yeah, very dusty.
You reckon you come back all white?
Oh yeah, well,
my black boots are now white.
Okay.
You can see these are the boots I've worn, and you can still see a bit of dust.
Right enough.
I need new boots.
But if you're prepared for that, that's all right.
That foot fetish.
Greg had to bring his fetish into the podcast.
There's not a lot of shade. There is with the wooded area, obviously, but there's not a lot of shade. So the first game, it was out in the open, and there was not a cloud in the sky, and we got back to the safe zone. Everyone's just drinking gallons of water because we're all just knackered.
Yeah, if you're going on a sunny day, take sunscreen and a good hat. If you're going on a rainy day, take a spare pair of shoes, basically.
And pants. Be
prepared for hills. That's one of them. The hills are quite serious on this site. So it's like slag, like you said. It's one of those things where you come to the bottom of it and there's a rope at the top.
Yes, thanks for that.
And it's like, take a sling. If you've got a sling for your rifle and you want to use the site to how it's been sort of intended to be used, you can sling your rifle on your shoulder and actually get up the hill and have a good time with it. Just be careful. There's some very, very steep areas.
Yeah, I mean, I was climbing down that hill that I followed you up for some reason, and I had my 417, so that's heavy.
Yeah.
And I was dragging that down with me. Thanks for that. But the funniest thing is, all of that, I hurt my shoulder exiting the game zone, the safe zone. So I just walked out and it's like a little path. It's like that. I just slipped over because I wasn't paying attention.
You properly
my shoulder just went
fucking dusted yourself on the floor. But anyway, wouldn't be a game day without someone hurting himself.
Yeah, but I don't hurt myself like doing something cool or adventurous. It's like I'm walking down a path.
Do the old man fall.
There's a tree. I'll bump into it.
Now, that sort of neatly leads us onto the safe zone. I personally think the safe zone's actually one of the better ones I've been to. So, normal car park layout. I'll try and edit a video in now of the safe zone at the end of the day. I took a small video there. So it's the end of the day. Good day overall. Highly recommend this site very much. So as you can see behind me, you've just got the shop and whatnot, and just over that way there is the toilets. So they've got proper decent toilet facilities. Highly recommend this site. Very, very good. And for location, we are just by that pillbox thing, the HESCO barrier base that we were at earlier. So very good size site, very well run, just a general good day.
Like, comment and subscribe.
And we're back. So you saw the safe zone. Obviously, as you also, where I was sort of recording, there's a main shop behind you, and that shop is in a building. There's an undercover seating area, so on the rainy days there's somewhere for the rentals, etc., to go and sit down. And there's also sort of the canteen area where there's the little food area where you can buy, you know, hot drinks, snacks, whatever you need, and your normal food.
And
Now
the
the
shop.
food was something different there.
Yeah.
The food they did there was on point. They did some seriously big burgers. I'll see if I can find it on the website.
Good prices as well for
Yeah,
it.
they're
to be
very
honest.
reasonably priced.
Or is it the Humber stack?
Yeah, the Humber
Yeah, I
stack
think
was
it was
on
only
It
it.
about
was
4 or 5
the
pounds.
Humber stack was, I think it was 2 burgers, a chicken burger, sausage, bacon,
Hash brown,
brown,
cheese.
I want to say, was there a fried egg in there?
There was.
somewhere?
It was serious.
Jesus.
I like.
It was.
I was trying to be sensible because I'm getting a bit more rotund, getting that dad bod. But it came out that Humber stack did for some of the lads.
Ooh.
It had one of them
Oh,
skewer
look.
things through it to hold
Oh,
it
yeah.
together. It's not something.
Can I just say something? He said about dad bod. I had a photo taken of me there, and I looked really good.
Yeah, well, this
I was
is.
holding my 417. It's like my
Were you wearing
You-
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
No. No.
Well,
this,
in the group picture, you were, to be fair.
No, well, yeah, the group picture, but that's because it's funny and I'm doing something with that. Anyway, no, but this is just because I hate the sound of my voice.
Yes. Anyway, so can I recommend Humber Airsoft to someone who's never been before? In short, yes. As far as me recommending to the Nemcast subscribers, 100%. They've got decent toilets, they've got coffee facilities, good lunch menu. that
In
you
the
have to pay for
shop,
extra.
in the shop, they provide free earplugs because in the FOB base, lots of pyro going off, and they do say at the safety brief, if you want some, it's just like little earplugs. Just help, ask for them. They're
It's little
free.
things like
Yeah,
that that
it's,
make
Please,
there's
yeah.
little simple things. Now that again leads us on nicely to that fob area. That is a
Fantastic.
cool area of the quarry. Now those who aren't really aware, it's fob forward operating base, and they've got HESCO barriers. Now you'll see HESCO barriers in places like Afghanistan, things like that.
They're the big square bits.
Big
that
square
fill with
bits that
earth,
they
isn't it?
backfill
And you
with
can
like earth
build them
or
almost
whatever.
like Lego, can't you?
Yeah, and it's like not quite Lego blocks, but it's similar. You can make a wickedly large sort of fortification, which they've done, and it's very immersive. It is very cool. They've allowed for like firing ports out of some of the areas. It's fairly easy to assault if you organise yourselves, and it's raised up on a hill. So assaulting from two sides, you're essentially going up a slope like
Well, it's
that.
sort of like there's 3 sides that are hill, and then the other side is like flat.
Yeah,
onto
very
the forest.
flat with. The best way I can describe it is like desert shrubs. I don't know how else to
Okay.
describe it. So it's sort of like waist-high shrubs with little pathways through.
But plenty of cover on the attack.
There's plenty of cover.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
And on those sloped hills, you're close enough. By the time you get to the top of the hill, you're close enough where you can just lob pyros. Hence the ear protection. Because when we were in there, it's quite possibly the most pyro I've ever seen used in a game, ever. We were in one of the buildings, and there's just constant stream of pyros being thrown into this one area, and you're thinking that's cool as shit, but that's expensive as shit.
Was it policed well though?
Oh
Yeah.
god, yeah, because
Was
the
every
marshals
day
are
they
walking
got
around.
somebody
They're walking
actually
around
out?
on the top of the HESCO walls, where the players aren't allowed to go. So they've got like a top-down view of
Okay.
everything that's going on.
That's good.
So it works out incredibly well. And normally on a game like that, from what we can gather, there's spawn points for the attackers, and there's so many lives for the defenders, and that's sort of like the turnaround game they'll do. So that covers the HESCO area. What about the woodland area? What do we think to that in general?
There's a nice little village there.
There's a little village tucked away. You don't
Yeah.
really get to play in it much. Well, we didn't anyway when we
We
were there.
went through it, but the games were more. It was what is it? The Battlefield 3 one where it's
Yeah, you
move-
take a base at a time.
My
before
brain
rush.
has
Rush.
got that was it. Yeah. So you got like the posts, and then like the armbands, the double-sided. So yellows had to turn it to yellow. Unbanded was turn it to red. So you got to that post, turn it round, or keep it
Yeah,
as
on the
it
post to
was.
symbolise who's taken
You've
the post.
taken it,
and
and
that's
Like
then,
a
and then
flag,
you move on.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So there was that, and then the other one was like Rush A, that kind of thing, where you've got to get the points, you've got to get the areas and hold it.
Yeah,
and
so
then-
it wasn't. You're not capturing the
Okay.
village. You're capturing the
yeah.
area around the village. Then you're capturing the hill and the area around that.
Yeah.
The next spawn point. And then you push on from there, eventually leading up to the sort of
A bit like
the
the
final
game.
bit, which
Yeah.
is the fob.
Yes.
And the fob's like the sort of the pinnacle, the cool bit. And that's where everyone
The
saves the
end boss.
pyros. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The site itself is wicked. Highly recommend going. What is your recommendation?
What do you mean?
Would you recommend people go, or would you
Yes.
say wait for a rainy? not rainy
No,
day, dry day.
I weather just buy good clothes. No, it's a good day. If you get a chance to go with your mates, or even renting, or by yourself, it's a friendly atmosphere. The marshals are really spot on. It's good terrain. It's managed well. The games ran perfectly. I didn't see. Yeah, it's usually the thing with airsofters. We all say, "Oh, that person was cheating," and all. I didn't see any of that. No cheat calling, no unfair playing. Everyone, it's like I got shot in the neck. I just started laughing. I saw the guy who shot me at the fob. He just put his thumb up and started laughing as well. It was a really good atmosphere.
And that's it. We go and play airsoft to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the long and
all
short
the
of it,
game.
isn't it?
What are your thoughts on it? On the site overall, would you recommend people
Oh,
go?
definitely.
Would you pre-book?
I mean, I drove for 3 hours to get there. I mean, if you're going from anywhere around the Midlands area, say if you're not from, say, Sheffield upwards, if it still counts as Midlands, you're looking at it's going to take you a day trip. I left my house at 5 in the morning, I didn't get back till 8:30.
It's a commitment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
worth
it
it.
was worth
Even
the
if it's like, I would mark it down as like a bucket list site.
Okay, well, right enough. In that
And
case,
you're only, you're not, for context, you're not a million miles away from that. I think it's the Humber Bridge. So it's if you need to look on Google Maps, it's fairly easy to find.
Oh, it's right there.
Yeah, it's worth going. It's definitely worth going. I'd actually recommend, especially for like in your circumstance, it's really helpful as a site owner to go there and see how what I would consider some of the more high-end sites do it.
yes.
Because you can get some inspiration for how you run your sites.
Not just inspiration, but yeah, see what's making them money and see what's necessarily not the best ideas. And if you do that to all the best sites in the country,
You'll
and
soon
you get the best
really
bits
popular
out of all
sport.
the best sites, and if you can
I
manage
usually find the best part of a site isn't the terrain. It's the attitude of the owners and the marshals.
Yeah, that I'd say also that and a combination of the safe zone and the.
Yeah, but I
terrain
mean,
is-
you could have a crap safe zone, but if the marshals are lovely and welcoming and friendly and have a sense of
It really
humour,
adds to the day. Yeah.
they get you. They don't just get you to play; they actually get you involved with.
yeah, and that kind of
even
goes
even
in.
the safety brief, like like asking like, has anyone got any questions? And I put my hand up and I said, are confetti cannons allowed here? And they were. So I showed people a little bit of razzle dazzle.
Yes.
Nice. But along that lines with people having fun, you could have the best site in the world. You could have the best facilities, the best food,
Oh yeah,
and everything. But if people aren't having fun, like you say, it could be the worst site, but you could be having
Yeah.
the best day of your life there.
yeah. And it's the best site, but the attitude of not just the players, the attitude of the marshals and the owners is awful.
Exactly.
You don't want to go there ever again. Not saying any names.
I think one of the things that made it so fun as well is, I mean, we've mentioned it on previous podcasts. If you've got crap respawn rules, it kills it for the people. For the people who are
overly
playing.
complicated stuff.
The fact that
yeah.
they just had massive white pillar, kind of set out in random-ish
Yeah,
locations.
just a
I
big
guess.
white
Yeah.
post.
Go to that post. That's your respawn.
Yeah.
point.
And it was,
not go all the way
post
back
back
to
in.
where you started and then come back.
And depending on the situation, the main rule was you first when you shot first.
You had one medic.
You
and
had
then it
one
was
medic,
respawn
and then after that medic, you went to the safe zone, and then it reset. It's like Anzio with that, which I think for every game, the word different. Like with the attack defend, you could either be medicked when you were defending, when you were attacking, it was just regen, or medic, I think.
I can't
Medic.
But when you
Regen, yeah.
when you were defending, it's like you could be medicked, or you could just walk to the flag post and touch it, and then you back in. But you had 6 lives, so it's like after 6 lives, leave the area, and then. Yeah,
Right, that gives you
whittles
the
it.
impetus of
So
waiting for a medic.
Yeah,
as well.
so it whittles the game down to like, so it's basically a timed game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now, I will say that fob is the centre point of that site.
you want one, don't you?
God, yeah. If it was, I will say, if it wasn't for that fob, the site wouldn't be what it is. The safe zone is one thing, that's the exception. It's really good. The safe zone is well laid out, it's well thought out. They've done it properly. The fob is the focal point of that site, very much.
So to that end, does every game involve it?
No, I was just
every
about to
game.
say, we only played attack defend once and reversed it in the afternoon.
that's a
However,
good thing.
that's the one thing. If you're a new player to the site, that is the one bit that all the new players go, I want to go check that out. That's the first thing they see.
Yeah.
Yes, but if you force that down everybody's throat
it could
every
be
game,
competitive.
I can appreciate
yeah.
that you might be like, oh, I went to Humber, I only got to play in the fob in the last game. Yeah. But if you go there regularly, you don't want to play every
game. You get very bored
there.
very fast.
It's a balance.
It's probably like the last third of the day. The two games switch out, and then it's attack and defend.
Okay, yeah.
So it was well balanced, well run. I can't genuinely think of a complaint. I thought that everything was done properly. It's a shining example of an airsoft site, and I highly recommend people checking out.
I certainly will do.
Yeah.
So next time we go to Humber, I'll obviously do some posts before. Try and get yourselves there as well. It's worth the travel, definitely. So I think that pretty much sums up part 2. Is there anything else to add? No?
Nothing you'd want me to say.
No, nothing.
I think that's it.
No. Anyway, last shout out to the Tropic Thunder lads. It was great to see you guys there. And I'll see everyone in part 3. Cheers, chaps. Hey guys, welcome back for part 3. And in this part we're going to be discussing what's going on in the next one. So the next one hopefully is Greg isn't going to be fucking about as much. We have a guest coming on,
Been
which
quite
is
well behaved actually.
fairly well. Clarky from ASG. So we're going to have the ASG rep on. That'll be great to chat about. We're going to talk about some of the products, what's coming up in the future, and generally his experience in airsoft so far. I've not quite decided what's on part 2 yet, so we'll find out. So that being that, thanks for watching, chaps. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop a comment in the comment section if you have any thoughts or opinions on what we spoke about today. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, chaps. Once again, thank you for that, Greg.